Hi. Okay, I think we're live now. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited for this topic. And especially we've been looking a lot into AI for merge and also how a lot of our customers are using it in combination with integration. So I'm so excited here to be facilitating an awesome conversation about how startups are thinking about using AI in their products. So for a quick introduction, I'm Shensi Ding. I'm the co-founder of Merge, and I'm joined today by some amazing founders. So let's go around and briefly introduce yourselves and talk about what your company does. And Rahul, let's start with you and then go to Taimur and then Jonathan.
Hi everyone, my name is Rahul. I'm CTO, co-founder of Atlas, and at Atlas we are building our customer support platform. So, right now we have tools like ticketing, help center, chatbot, session recording, and you can think of Atlas as a much better version of Intercom Gendesk, like a much better version.
Cool.
Awesome. Hey everyone, I'm Taimur. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Causal. Causal is the finance platform for startups. So you can use us for your financial reporting, planning, budgeting, forecasting, all that good stuff. And we integrate nicely with QuickBooks, Xero, Stripe, all the tools that you'll be using. And we're very happy Merge customers as well.
My name is Jonathan Fields. I'm the CEO of Assembly. We're an employee recognition, rewards, and engagement platform. Also, thank you, Merge, for empowering our business. So thrilled to be here.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's been great working with all of you guys over the past few years. And so I would love to jump right into the discussion about AI and how your companies are currently leveraging it. And I know all of your companies are currently offering AI features or functionality. Can each of you walk through how you end up implementing it into your products? And let's go in the same order again as well.
Yeah, sure. So at Atlas, at least we have sort of three swim lane where we are using AI. The first one, obvious, is the AI chatbot. Almost every there are million vendors out there trying this out. So a huge opportunity, in having something like ChatGPT, but just for your product. The second is sort of a co-pilot, which is more like adding AI to your workflow. So if you assign a ticket, you can also auto-assign a ticket, tag a ticket, summarize a ticket, lots of different things that you can do in the product. And third is sort of AI insight. So imagine a really smart PM going over thousands of your ticket and telling you, hey, here are the 20 different things that you can do better in your product, but instead of a PM, AI doing it. So those are sort of the three different areas that we are working on AI-related things.
Nice. We're also doing some of the typical AI chatbot stuff for support. But actually, the first area that we started doing some AI stuff in probably like a year ago now was our sort of onboarding. I think that was always a big challenge for us, getting people's data into Causal and then getting them to actually build something meaningful and get value out of the product without first having to learn, how our formulas work and all of the ins and outs of the product. So I think a lot of data tools have this problem. We certainly had the problem of hey, how do you get people value really quickly? And so the first AI thing we did was basically like an AI onboarding wizard where you connect your accounting system, so QuickBooks or Xero. The AI can then understand all of the different line items in your P&L or whatever it might be, and it can generate the sort of V1 or V0 of your financial model in Causal. And so then the first thing you're looking at is not like a template that has nothing to do with your business. It's not just a blank canvas. It's your actual data. A sensible financial model that's a good starting point for your business. So that's kind of the first thing that we did.
Very cool.
I just want to share that I was an investment banker in a past life, and you saying that describes my entire job is now just going to be automated and out the door. So it's it's amazing, but wild how far this has come.
Well, Taimur's going to use this webinar now for his own marketing.
Yeah, take that.
Take that clip. Yeah.
Save the cost of an analyst, which is probably true, to be honest. So we use it at Assembly in two prongs. So the first one, which is where we started, was when ChatGPT came on the scene. We're like, oh my gosh, there's so much data that lives inside of our software. People are recognizing each other, people are communicating, collaboration happens, and there's no way to really summarize it and describe it seamlessly inside of the platform. So any data you put in, whether it's your HR policy, whether it's your leave policy, it doesn't matter. You can put any sort of data, documentation, or what's user generated, and it can automatically give you summarization. You don't have to go into a folder, It's essentially ChatGPT for internal documentation. That's where we started. And by the way, that's incredible. I mean, everyone's been like, what's my maternity policy or paternity policy at the company? And they don't know where to go, or they have to go through a 200-page HR handbook. It answers you in a second. And the second piece, which is where we've been leaning very heavily, is reporting. So obviously, you know, we got some synergies here on both sides from the financial aspect of yours, Taimur, but all the information, the standard charts, graphs, everybody at every company we've ever talked to has been like, well, it was close to what I was looking for, but I couldn't get that exact thing. Well, now you can. It's amazing. With generative AI, you can actually run your reports inside of Assembly by asking it a question, and our AI actually prompts you the questions that you should be asking. So if you say slice and dice this chart by division, title, location, or break it down by tenure, any information that's populated by an HRIS system, it can instantly do it. It is that analyst that you don't have the capital to afford right now. So that's how we're using it at Assembly right now.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's been a game changer for us as well, not only internally, but also with a lot of the vendors that we use. So yeah, it's made a huge difference in repetitive tasks. So Taimur, I follow you guys on LinkedIn, and I saw a lot of posts when you ended up announcing your AI features. And I know you all really wanted to make sure that if you were adding anything to your product, that it was actually going to be genuinely helpful. And I know you have a really purposely lean team. What was the impetus for starting to build out these capabilities?
I think it was less of like, hey, we want to use AI. It was more like, hey, what are the main problems in the business or in the product? Can AI help with that? And I think one of the things that and we used to get this feedback from investors a lot in the early days of Causal. They were like, oh my God, you know, this looks great. I'd love to just connect my data, and if you can just, you know, generate my model for me, you know, something like this. And you know, at the time, I think pre LLMs, that would have been a very hard thing to do. Everyone's accounting system is set up differently. Everyone's P&L has different items on it. You know, it would have been a whole separate product just to build that onboarding wizard. And so, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I think, when the LLM started coming on the scene, and we kind of identified internally, hey, the onboarding is actually the biggest problem in the business right now. We need to improve our activation rates and so on. It felt like quite a natural fit of like, hey, you have all of these line items in the accounting system. That's just like a bunch of text, and the AI can maybe group them in nice ways. And I think one thing that we have been deliberate about is we're getting the AI to do the bits that the AI is good at, and then we're sort of using domain knowledge to kind of almost automate the rest of it ourselves. And so the AI is not doing everything. There's kind of a few tasks in the flow where the AI is going from a list of 100 things in a P&L to a group list of, say, 20 things, which the AI is very good at doing that, sort of grouping those items into subgroups. Some of the other stuff, like actually writing the formulas, that's kind of logic that we've kind of built into the wizard at the moment. Maybe at some point, AI will do that as well.
Cool. And were there any challenges that you ran into, that you and your product team ran into while you were building out these features?
I think there was just kind of like a bit of upfront cost, and we hadn't integrated any LLMs into the product before. There was a bit of sort of upfront cost into just sort of getting that into our code base. I think there was some issues around. So we ended up using Google's LLM because they're already on our like data processing agreement or whatever. Whereas if we wanted to introduce like OpenAI into there, we'd have to send an updated agreement to all of our customers, users. So we're like, okay, we'll just stick with Google, so we don't have to like update this agreement. I think there was a few things like that which I hadn't expected, but that actually ended up deciding which LLM we used.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that sub-processor email does end up
yeah.
a lot of decision just because, it does cause some friction. But the best thing that ever happened to Merge was when our customer sent an email that we were a sub-processor. So I guess it does go Jonathan, so I know that you guys have also, you invested a lot in AI this year, and I talked to one of your amazing product managers who gave me a lot of helpful feedback and advice as well. And so now that you have had several new features launched, and it seems like you have learned a lot from that experience too. What would you have done differently either prior or while you were building out these products and features?
Yeah, I would say if I knew where AI was going to go and I knew how fast it was going to accelerate, I wish, like as soon as it launched, we started moving on it. But if I had the understanding of where it would have gone, I would have invested earlier on into different things. And that's actually the biggest issue is like, where is it going to go and what can it do, and to be prepared for that so you don't waste time today. That's actually the biggest learning. And so, for example, reporting. And like we spent so much time building out your standard charts and graphs, and everybody's in a race to build the same exact thing. You're always building it from scratch, or there's technology you could pay for, or like BI tools to do it. And so everybody across the board is spending time on the same exact thing. You don't have to. And so the biggest learning is just to think critically about where this is going to go and to prepare for the future. So instead of building those legacy charts and graphs that are now, I would say AI reporting, in all honesty, is not a 30% increase in functionality or a 50%. Like, those are things that move the needle forward. This is a step function increase. This is a 10x better reporting function than anything we've ever seen. You can ask a question like a human being, like as if you were talking to an analyst. Go figure this out for me. You just ask it a question and it literally gives you the answer. So if I made any mistakes, it was to invest in things that could completely be automated and to think critically now about where that is also going to go, because it's accelerating at an accelerating rate in terms of AI. So it's like, what does the next 6 months or year look like, and to try and be ahead of that curve. So that was the biggest learning. It's just like, don't waste time on things that can be done not 30 or 50% better, but 10x better.
And along that note, we got several requests from your team also for different integration categories and additional integrations. Why did you guys decide to use integration data to help power these AI features?
Yeah, so when you think about what is an LLM, they need not a little bit of the data, they need all of the data everywhere for everything across the board. That's why they're illegally scraping like YouTube in every single place that there's data. Now they're even creating their own data to then re-scrape the data to train the data. It's like a virtuous cycle. You need all of the data. If you have a very small data set, it does not matter how good the technology is unless there's something for it to be used against. And so if you only have one piece of your technology stack that can be utilized with AI, then it's not great. So what we needed at Assembly for companies who use us for the internal chat GPT, we needed all of your handbooks, your policy, the presentation that you sent internally. We need anything that you've had access to. And if we can aggregate it across the board, the next time you have a question, you don't have to go, where did I store that thing? Or what tool did I put it in? Instead of searching across 15 different tools, if we can aggregate into one place, you can ask a simple question and get an answer immediately. So we needed all of the data sources. And to be honest with you, shout out to Merge here, we were not going to build it. It was not on the roadmap, and that would have been an entire business. Thank you, Merge, for taking that business. But you were able to partner with us and build out integrations into Dropbox and Box and Google and OneDrive and SharePoint, all the places that people are storing documentation. But it doesn't stop there. The truth is, if you're an aggregator of data, you don't need 5 sources. You need every source across the board. And that's obviously, shout out to you. Good job again. You crushed it.
Yeah, it was actually really interesting just seeing how much once that first ChatGPT product got launched, you guys were immediately starting to think through like, how do we end up using this? And I saw you guys release several different features and different experimentations. It was really cool to see live. So huge shout out to your
iterating
team.
in real time, building the plane as we're flying it. It's a startup life.
Yeah. Now, Rahul. So you fundraised in 2022, and I know right now there's a lot of fundraising in AI. I believe so. Irene, love her. She pulled this metric that analysts predict generative AI will be a $1.3 trillion market by 2032, and there's a lot of companies that are just popping up. And you guys fundraised during a pretty a hot time. How did you end up breaking through the noise, and what advice would you give to other founders of AI products for how to approach not only their product strategy, but potentially go-to-market strategy as well?
So the one thing that we have seen is building our own product and using a lot of product for AI-related product in operations or sales or even engineering. It's there are a lot of products out there, but we are not yet there where there is a clear winner. The quality of each of these products leaves something to desired. And same with our AI, chatbot that we are building, or 100 other companies that are building. So one thing that I definitely think is that if you want to stand out in the market, it would be the player who can do a really good job at it. So a lot of it is at least for us, the AI chatbots related thing, the research part of the problem is sort of solved. It's now on the engineering side of things, that how do you use different integrations and build a data pipeline that actually solves like customer problems properly. So what we have seen is users are now very quick to try, for example, one AI chatbot versus another, or trying multiple at the same time and seeing which is actually able to perform better. So I think it's a lot going to depend on how good of a product you are able to build.
Yeah, I agree. And my hot take is I don't think it impacts anything at all for when every market is competitive inherently, and there are not really that many modes in software. It's just how good your go-to-market team is, how great of a customer experience you're able to offer. So I don't think it actually changes that much either. So yeah, I agree with you as well. You just either, no matter if there's AI or no AI, you have to offer the best product experience.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess with that, so stepping back about using AI in your product, I also was curious about how you feel like AI might influence the way startups might be operating. I know you were in the YC batch in 2022, and so I'm sure you have a lot of other startup founders that you're friends with. How have you noticed that, and how have you noticed that AI is impacting the way that those early stage companies are operating? And what is your opinion on that too?
I think it's just you're able to be very efficient, right? Like, so lots of jobs, right, that we do. For example, we used to contract out a lot of our sales data enrichment to external team, and it was a huge pain to manage them, manage errors and stuff like that. Now all that we have replaced by a single AI company that does that, and then a single person who checks that job. So in terms of efficiency, whether that's sales ops team, or whether engineers, almost every single engineer in the team is natively directly goes to ChatGPT or Perplexity to search for things, or uses Copilot to write code. So we're able to be a lot more efficient, which is great because startups are resource constrained by nature. So this has been very helpful that now you are able to work against somebody who can put a lot of manpower against you.
Yeah, I agree. And you just move so much faster. Like there's a lot of repetitive processes with like yesterday I had to drop it. There was an API provider that had like thousands of scopes, and I was like, oh, F, like how am I gonna manually add commas in between every single, or sorry, add spaces in between every single scope. And I just used ChatGPT. It was 2 seconds. It was awesome. So yeah, there's so many little things that would have taken 20, 30 minutes to manually do. It really does improve a lot of time efficiencies. So for Taimur and John, I'm curious, how, if at all, have your company started using AI in day-to-day work? And also, are there certain teams that you've noticed that have had a significant, a larger impact, and other teams where maybe the impact's been a little bit less?
I think pretty much everyone in the company now has a tab of ChatGPT just constantly open. I think it's kind of provided, probably it probably saves a bunch of hours every week for everyone. One way that I found it very useful is if I need to generate sort of some sample data for a demo. Previously, this was super annoying. I'd have to go into Google Sheets. I'd have to find data sets myself. Whereas now I can say, hey, generate a data set with these columns, 1,000 rows with these rough characteristics, and it can just do it. So I think stuff like that. I think mostly the sort of the ChatGPT style AI stuff has saved everyone a lot of time. I think the kind of next level from that, which we're not at yet, is once sort of these sort of AI agents become easier to use, or more mainstream. I know there's a bunch of people using AI agents to do outbound. It's kind of I don't know how I feel about that specifically, but I feel once you can have some agents kind of just running and doing stuff for you, that's kind of the sort of 10x boost that Jonathan mentioned. I think right now for a lot of people internally, ChatGPT is the sort of 50% boost or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the year of reading data for AI. You just are able to get insights from it. But I think next year is the year of AI agents and really having actions be enhanced by that. Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that was just said. Also, I don't feel badly about it when the outbound sort of automation comes around. I assure you, I'm the first one buying that product. So anything you can do to work smarter, not harder, I'm in. So
yeah,
I mean, it does help a lot.
100%. I'm in. I value people's time more than anything because it's the only thing money cannot buy. So it's if you can give people time back in the day and be more efficient, do it. That's my short stance on that. So there is a mandate at Assembly. Everybody has to use AI. Have to show me one way to work more efficiently across the board. So On the engineering team, everyone has a subscription to Copilot. So everybody is kind of like using that to write code. It's just, once again, you're right. It's not a 10xer, but it's probably a 10 to 30% enhancement. It's really efficient. If you're ever doing an Excel, like Shensi, exactly the same thing. Like you put a formula in there and just be like, why isn't it working? It just solves it for you. I mean, it's so good at that right now. So a big time saver there. On the customer support, sales, account management side, writing emails, like it being your thought partner to give you ideas is extremely helpful. Almost every like bigger output of data or even blogs, ChatGPT has a stance on all of that. So there is no one at Assembly who is not using AI in one form or fashion. So you're right. It's not a 10x yet across the board, but there are, 10 to 30% improvements from everybody in terms of efficiency.
So as our performance management guy, do you think that it should be included in performance management reviews?
Yes. I mean, the truth is like, more so for like a manager perspective, like training first-time managers is really difficult, and almost no company invests enough into actually training managers of how to be great managers. But a data set that's seen every piece of writing across the internet understands the characteristics of what makes a good manager, what makes a good leader, how to ask the right questions, what's the cadence to write the right question. So absolutely. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be at a minimum as like the personal coach for a manager that you can't allocate in terms of resources or capital. It's a great resource for managers across the board.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends, he's the founder of like a Series B startup, and he's noticed like there is a significant productivity boost in certain team members that have been using AI a lot. So he's thinking about including it in performance reviews just to encourage and have some kind of encouragement for everyone to start using it. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on that too. Cool. Yeah. Cool. So to wrap it up, I'm curious for all of your companies, what's next for the rest of 2024 for a product, for your product. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. For your product from an AI investment point of view. Rahul.
Yeah, so right now we are working on like the AI chatbot, what we are calling Juice internally, and then like the next step is for us is what I was mentioning earlier. It's like sort of a co-pilot, something that like not like a feature product or a feature in itself, but something that works across the product, all small changes that like suggesting the next keyword that you are writing to the customer, or auto assigning a ticket, or summarizing a ticket, or like lots of 20 different use cases across the product that makes your life much better than just doing one specific thing. So that's the second part that we're gonna take this year.
Oh, okay. Really, really cool. What about you, Taimur?
Yeah, that sounds super cool, Rahul. For us, I think we're trying to. So, one of the other product issues that we have is that there's sort of tons of functionality, but we can't put like a little button in the toolbar for like every little causal feature. And so right now, I think people find it quite hard to discover a lot of the functionality, but we don't want to make the UI overwhelming. So we're going to be experimenting with some kind of like. I think a bunch of products have this now. I think Hex do a very good job of this, but just kind of like a big sort of AI prompt box, and you can kind of use that as the main interface for like triggering any other actions, and that way we don't have to have like a million buttons on the toolbar. So that's something that we have in mind. And then we've started working on
Are you using a vendor for that, or are you building that in-house?
Still in quite an experimental stage at the moment. Wait, do you guys offer something like this now, or?
Oh no, I wish.
Okay,
I was.
right.
I'll sign up. I'm in.
If you guys, maybe you should pivot. But if you, because we're very feature rich like you guys are,
Yes,
and so it's really good for discoverability. We do have like in our docs you can search information, but it's not.
Yes,
like
So we have like a docs thing. We use a vendor called Command Bar for that. So I think we're pretty happy with them. But we'd like a similar thing in the product. And then the next thing as well. So right now we have this onboarding wizard where you can connect to your accounting data and get the sort of V1 financial model. What we're working on now is that if you have an existing Excel financial model or Google Sheets financial model, you'll be able to kind of basically upload that and then have like a similar AI powered wizard to kind of convert that into Causal. Again, this was something lots of people suggested when we started the company. It would have been a whole separate company, but now thanks to LLMs, it's actually pretty tractable, I think, this year.
Very, very cool. Well, keep me posted if you find a good vendor.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds a little bit like Rahul was thinking of doing, because he mentioned that like it could help your customer success lead into the product. So maybe, I don't know. Let us know, Rahul, if you're building something like that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, agreed. I'm in. With Taimur's point, like Assembly also does a lot of things, and prompting people to do the things at the right time is something that can now be enabled with AI. So I agree with you. That's one of the big things for this upcoming year is like, how do we prompt you? You can do all these things, but how do we get you to do it, be educated on it, not only in general, but just at the exact right moment? And so AI understands sentiment, it understands context, so you can contextually show people the right things at the right moment. So that is a big piece of what we're working on for this upcoming year. The second piece is automation with AI. And we're only focused on engagement. How do we connect people to each other? How do we connect people to the company? And the truth is, an admin of Assembly is doing a million things. And so what we've realized is, even though you can do these things, if someone has to actually do the work, it's too much. But with AI, you don't have to do it. So everything we can turn into an automation, we are going to do. So press a button and then spark new conversations, connect people to each other, to connect people to mentors, connect people to all these different things without doing any work from an admin perspective. And it's supercharged by AI. So that's what we're working on. It's just automation across the board.
That's really cool. Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I think that's it for questions. So now it's time for public Q&A. Let's see if there's any questions from our viewers. It's okay if there's not. All right,
I could throw questions out for the team here. I feel like each of us need to use everyone's product. I need are we taking down Intercom? Like what's going on here? What are we doing there? How do we dominate the world?
Okay, I don't think we have any questions. So, well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Both the audience and then also my fellow webinar hosts. I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Of course, yeah, great to hang out. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.